right, we're back. I drank like a lot of water and I got another cup. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I got another cup of water. Okay, what we're going to do right now, what we're going to do right now, F11. What we're going to do right now is boop, boop, boop. We're going to make a tier list. We're going to make a tier list of pretty much, yeah, we're gonna make a tier list of pretty much all all the Super Metroid games as of 2019. Tier list maker. Pop pop. Alignment chart. I think everything is fine. Tier list view. Stop, stop. Up. Okay. Let's start off with a base. Let's start off with the ones we know are good. Super Metroid. S. For sure. S. Easily. What are you doing? All I did was hit the scroll button. Oh my goodness. Stop. Okay. Where do my colors go? Let's refresh. Google, I really hate you sometimes. Alright. Ah! Let's change the color. This stream is testing me today. Why did the colors change? Why did the colors change? Create my own ranking. Stop. Oh, okay. The colors changed for some reason. The colors changed. I am not hitting no buttons. Like, I don't know what happened. All I did was hit the scroll wheel down to update my stream. Whatever. Super Metroid S. Easily the best. Metroid Zero Mission. Easily the best, okay? I'd honestly, most of the stuff that they are adding into, I'm gonna make that number one. Metroid Zero Mission, number one. Best remake, best sprites, and it didn't overdo it. Like, it didn't overdo it in any way. Like, it did just fine, and it even added to the story because it added the Meta Ridley or whatever, and it added that extra part that actually added to the story. See, because in original Metroid, Samus did not have the shoulder plates. In the original Metroid, Samus pretty much never got the shoulder pads till Metroid 2. But she just turned pink pretty much in Metroid, right? So it's just like, this game added the shoulder pad parts by adding lore to the story, right? But the reason why Samus got the shoulder pads was because on Game Boy Metroid 2, there was no color. So the way for you to be able to tell which suit you had was for them to add shoulder plates. So that's how you got that. Metroid Zero Mission, by far the best. It has a fluid movement. Everything. Super Metroid still feels a little floaty. You're in outer space, but you don't really feel super heavy. But Metroid Zero Mission is very snappy. You feel heavy, but you feel like you're agile, but you feel like you're heavy at the same time. Like, I felt like a lot of the things they did in Zero Mission, really great. And most of the stuff they have in there now, they're actually adding back to Super Metroid with Project Base and all the other hacks pretty much that they try to do. They try to make it like Super Metroid. I mean, not Super Metroid. They try to make it like Metroid Zero Mission. So, Metroid Zero Mission gets my respect as number one. Super Metroid, number two. Easily. Oh my goodness. Metroid Prime. This list is kind of hard. But let's do the easy ones though. We're gonna do easy ones. Federation Force, easily a D. Okay, I do not care about the Federation Force, and it's a spinoff that's like, it's not even trying to be serious. It's like a cutesy shooter. Nah, get out of here. I ain't trying to play it, and I avoided that one. Metroid Pinball, D also. I'm not trying to play pinball, and it's also on the go. No. No, no pinball. I like the touch they did, but no. Metroid. Let's see what else I got in here. Metroid 2. I try to see which ones are easy to do. This one, Metroid Samus Returns. I'm gonna put it at a C. I like the way the game looks. I like how your suit looks. Just the way they did certain things in the game, it looked really cool. The way just the way the game looks and how the game feels. Now you don't have that wall jump in the game, but when you do a wall jump, it pushes you away. There's just certain little things I do not like about Samus Returns. Had a dude working on a Metroid 2 remake, which would honestly be in this list, and that'd be top 3 in my opinion if they had it in here, right? But it's not in here. This is Nintendo games, I guess. But Samus Returns, if they would have just worked with the dude that made AM2R, this game would have been a lot better in my opinion. Now my issue is the smaller enemies. I felt like every second of the game, every second, if you were trying to run around, it felt like you always had to smack enemies. Like, I'm at the end of the game. I have the most powerful beam, all the upgrades. Why can't I just shoot the enemy straight up? And it feels like even the smaller enemies hit like a truck for no reason. Now I understand in Metroid 2 there's not really much of stuff going on in the story and not much enemies as you get later in the game, but just blatantly being lazy and just making enemies hit like a truck rather than do something interesting with them. It's just very unpleasant way of playing the game. It's just not fun to just make everybody hit like a truck just to compensate for like the smaller enemies. But the end fight, the queen fight, the boss fights were really fun. So it's not the worst of the worst, but it's not really super great either. If you want a really good Metroid game to play AM2R. That is simple and it does the game right. It adds extra stuff without overdoing it. Really great game. Honestly, should try that one. It sticks to the 2D art style of Metroid Zero Mission, the one that everybody loves. Real great. Samus Returns is a C. Like, if you're on a road trip and don't have any other thing to play, and you got a 3DS, whatever, you won't be like extremely unhappy. Like, it's alright. A quick hour, 2 hour game, and they added like extra difficulties, but I didn't like them. But anyway, Metroid Prime Hunters, that's going at a C also. I remember growing up, I don't know if I got something out of the mail or if it was just a demo I got sent in. But does anybody remember getting like a DS cartridge with like the Metroid Prime Hunters demo for DS? There's like it's like one where you had to go around the map and collect these orbs. There was also another one where it was just like killing little Metroids, then traversing. It's really just a tech demo for this game. Now, I played it growing up. Now, I don't really remember the story like that, right? I don't remember the story. But just like my stupid phone going off. Anyway, it's kind of cool what they added. And it's kind of cool also that they added other hunters, like other bounty hunters from around, and just like the other people are quite interesting. It's really just like, I forget, I think you guys get like an artifact, but like if you die or something like that, one of them can steal an artifact from you, and so every planet you go to is like destroyed. And so this game is very interesting in my opinion, because you travel to different planets that have different things, and I believe you upgrade as you go. I did not beat the game, and just like, it's cool for a portable game, but it also was a DS game that, I think they did quite decent at making a first person shooter on the DS. Now, it's not anything to go crazy for, but it is definitely a unique game. Don't think it's the best, and I don't think it's like worse, because they kind of knew what they were doing a little bit, and it's kind of an interesting take. Definitely should check it out. Metroid Prime 3. No, hold on. Other M. I'm not even gonna. We're not even gonna talk about Other M. This is what we're gonna straight up do. We just boom, right there. Not even gonna say it. Not even gonna address it. I'm just gonna say the name, but we gonna keep it moving. Metroid. Let's see. Metroid Fusion. I think pretty much there's not really anything with going. It's not anything wrong with playing any of the Game Boy Metroid games. Game Boy Advance, I mean, they're pretty good. But if you want something quick, snappy, and you want to relive the old Metroid without having to rip your hair out, you play Zero Mission. By far the best Metroid ever, in my opinion. But Fusion, it cut back. Fusion cut back on a lot of stuff that made the game feel super great, like the fluid motion and stuff like that. I'm gonna turn off my notifications. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn off my notifications right now. Mute. But Metroid Fusion was more linear storytelling, and it just felt slow. But it'll take a minute for you to play. The story's interesting, but they kind of dialed it back with this Metroid. They really just wanted to tell a story with it, and it's super linear. And I mean, like, Metroid Zero Mission did a lot of steps forward, but I feel like Metroid Fusion took a lot of steps back. But let me see the release date on both of these games, actually. Because Metroid Fusion is supposed to be like the last one, I think, like Metroid 4. But Metroid Zero Mission came out in February 9th, 2004. Okay, so this game came out 2002. So it's like, that was kind of testing it out. So, if y'all haven't seen my previous stream, it's on a robot named Fight. But y'all should really see the beta. Y'all should see the beta of Metroid Fusion. Because there's one where it was like early. And Samus had antennas and stuff. Like, it was like crazy. She was super slim. And she looked like she had like Galactic Federation armor. See, because you could kind of tell she had Galactic Federation armor because the shape of her helmet, like the shape of her visor, it looked like a trident. And then they made another version where instead of the X being like yellow, they were purple. And then your HUD was very different. But Metroid Fusion, it was a start, but Metroid Zero Mission, after they got used to the Game Boy, it was just like, it was a done deal. Metroid Zero Mission, best game of all time. And you can sequence break. You cannot sequence break in Metroid Fusion, but they did make a ROM hack now that I think is fairly new that you guys should check out. But honestly, Metroid Fusion, like, I do not enjoy like super crazy, but it being on the Game Boy, it was very interesting what they were able to do, and it's just like overall, it was a fun time for the story it told because it added. But on to the next game, Metroid. See, this is the one that started all of it. I'm gonna wait on that one. I'm gonna wait. Metroid Prime 1. Definitely. Definitely an S. These are the top three. These are the top three. Easily. No top five, top three. In my opinion, it seemed like who made the game? Wasn't it Retro or something like that? These people knew what they were doing. These people knew what they were doing. And they did it well. Like, we'll have to play it on stream sometime, but the environments they made, the music for the game is all great. Now, there's not really anything I do not like in this game. Like, it's just like, my favorite part about the game is seeing Metroid Fusion, everything was being told to you as things were going on. So it's like most of the time, if something random happened in that game, it was super rare. Like there's only like 2 different situations where you see stuff you're not supposed to see in the game early or whatever. And so but the game addresses that, but you're really supposed to follow on the rails of that game. But Metroid Prime, I forgot what I'm talking about. Metroid Prime, it's just like everything put together is cool. And it's like, oh, I remember what I was talking about. Instead of explaining everything to you in Metroid Prime, you have a scan visor within the Prime series, all throughout the Prime series, and it was a great idea. But instead of telling you, oh, this creature can do this, oh, and this creature's weak point is this, for the sake of being quicker, or like instead of like every time you play the game it's just info dump after info dump, it's really just like, oh, I see this enemy, what does it do, what's its weak point, or like a boss you're having trouble with, you scan it. And so it'll pretty much, your scanner will tell you all the info you need to know about the, like, what you're fighting. It'll tell you weak points and just like, I mean, anything in the game. Like if you pull out your visor and there's an icon that you scan it, like it pretty much gives you helpful information. And like the space pirate lore, there's a it'll tell you a whole bunch about the space pirates. Like once you go in their base and look at their computers, or you scan them, and then like you go with the phase-on and stuff like that, like, and just the story of Prime, it's very cool and just unique, and just like the scan visor was a cool feature. Different beams, just exploration, the way the environments were, just everything about the game's cool. It's like what you would expect out of a first person Metroid, but it's not like, it's not ridiculous. Like not like bad ridiculous, but good ridiculous, because it's like more than what you would have expected. It's more than what you would have expected. And it's like, it blows me out of my socks, man, how great that game was. Now, we definitely got to play Prime. Now, Prime 2, I give it a B. I give it a B. Like, you still have the stuff that made Metroid Prime good, but instead of like, you know, the Varia suit and the gravity suits, what ends up happening is you get a dark suit and a light suit. But like, there's a point in Metroid Other M where you kind of have to run through the heated area without your Varia suit until you're told to use it. But the similar situation happens in Prime 2, and it's just like pretty much what happens is you travel between the light and dark world, and you're here to kind of free that world of all the dark energy within it. So you travel between it, but your suit that you have on is not immune to the dark energy. So as you're traversing this dark world, you're taking damage. I will understand why they would do something like that. And later on, you do get a light suit, so you don't have to worry about going in the dark world taking damage. But it's just kind of annoying because I feel like hell runs or any sort of taking damage within like a certain world, I feel like that should be speed run related and not required for you in the game, because there's like, I think it makes you do some bosses in this stupid dark universe. And so some of those bosses have moves that smack you out of, see, because you have to be in a light orb, so the light orb will heal you, right? But it's like, it's very slow, and some of the bosses smack you out of that orb, right? And so it's just super annoying. Like, it's very, very, very annoying. See, because they'll smack you into the lava, or they'll smack you into the dark water that deals damage to you. There's some bosses that you have to go to without being in an orb, so you're taking additional damage. And so if they hit you, then that's like triple the damage. I just didn't like that aspect until you got the light suit. Then you're like, okay, cool. But I guess once you get the light suit, it's like, okay, cool. But by the time you get the light suit, it's not really much to do in the dark world because you got everything you needed at that point. But it's really just collecting everything at the end, which I just like. Metroid Prime 2, I mean, I felt like it could have been a little better. Now, there are people that like it way better than I would. But for the sake of my tier list, it is at B. It's right in the middle. Like, it's cool. It does what Prime had. But as far as creating new things, those new things took steps back rather than steps forward, in my opinion. Even though the story was unique and different, they tried. Metroid Prime 3. Yeah, I put it there. I put it at C. It'll be at a C. Yeah, it'll be at a C. I just don't like the new characters they tried to introduce. Like, I like, see, Metroid Prime 2 introduced... No, Metroid Prime 1 introduced Dark Samus. But it was at the end of the story, but Prime 2 actually, like, fleshed out Dark Samus. But part 3, Dark Samus looked way different and was the main antagonist and all that, because she was spreading the whatever it was called to different areas with like a seed or whatever that be landing on places and stuff. I like that aspect, like you fighting Dark Samus and stuff like that, because that's your arch rival in Prime, because it's spreading the Phazon, right? Cool. But just the other characters to try to introduce, and then just anything involving the Galactic Federation, I just don't enjoy within the story, because they don't really add anything. They're like the Halo troops or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really add anything, in my opinion, because the game is supposed to be focused around Samus as the bounty hunter, but now she's taking orders. But once she first gets infected by the Phazon or whatever, because it's like in her now and she's getting infected, so the further you play in the game, she's getting more infected. But the first time she gets infected, they don't even ask her like to replace her suit. They just gave her like a Galactic Federation like Phazon device or whatever, and just switched her suit up. Whatever. I just didn't enjoy the story. I just don't like Samus working with the Galactic Federation directly and taking orders. Like, they don't add anything to the story. And just most of the stuff they add to the story, they're really taking for other people. So I just don't like it. And just like the amount of backtracking you have to do in this game is just unnecessary stuff. And then every time you get out the ship, it'll do the Samus fanfare. And usually when you played Prime, the first Prime, it would only play at the start of the game. And then when you loaded your save, it would play it, right? So the point of like playing that fanfare is to be like, oh hey, I'm starting my adventure. But Metroid Prime 3 kind of missed that note. So every time you get out of your spaceship, which you have to watch all the way, cannot skip it. Every time she gets out her ship, it'll play that fanfare. Every time. And it gets overdone because the amount of backtracking you have to do within the game is just absurd. So it's like, oh, I'm in this area, but I need to get to this side, so I drop my ship right here, but I have to go around in a circle. So now once I go in that circle, I have to hear the fanfare again. Like, it's very obnoxious. I mean, there's other stuff to the game. I like the idea of the phase-on and then dealing with that and stuff like that. And then kind of like at the end of the game where her suit doesn't, I mean, her ship doesn't detect it because she's too infected. Like, I felt like this one took a lot of steps back, even more steps back than Metroid Prime 2, but the unique motion controls with the grapple hook, yeah, but it took a lot of steps back. Metroid Prime 2, I mean, not Metroid Prime 2, Metroid 2, B. If you were talking about from Metroid 1, if we're talking about Metroid from what Metroid 1, it does a lot. Like, it introduced Samus with the new suit. It introduced space jump. Like, most of the stuff that's in the newer Metroids, like, you know, the crouching, that was all introduced from Metroid 2. Story wise, just think about it. You played Metroid 1, you defeated Mother Brain and Larva Metroids pretty much, and they sucked the life out of you. Very scary, right? But then you play this game, and then you come to find out there's a planet full of them, and you're supposed to eradicate this whole planet of Metroids. But as you get into the game, they evolve, and so they become more hostile. And so as you get deeper into the planet, it's like they evolve so much that you barely see any enemies because they're pretty much killing off all the other enemies and stuff. So it has some nice touches to it, and for a Game Boy game, it adds a lot. Like, I mean, you had Mario and stuff like that, but this game had a lot to add for the Game Boy, and just like the music to it. Like, the music was like very off-putting. Like, this Metroid was just very creepy. Like, it really set in the mood, like, oh, I have to fight these Metroids, and like, why aren't there any more Metroids as I'm getting deeper into the planet? Like, I mean, why aren't there any more enemies as I'm getting deeper into the planet? And then you find out, like, the queen destroyed the Ice Beam Chozo statue because she hated it. And then as you get to the end of the game, she starts hatching more Metroids that are familiar to the ones you're looking at. And then you fight the queen of all the Metroids. And then it ties in, and then it pretty much it pretty much transitions into Super Metroid. But Metroid 1, D. It just didn't age well. And honestly, if you're gonna play a Metroid, you would just play Metroid Zero Mission. It tells pretty much the same story, adds more, and you don't have to rip out your hair. Original Metroid has no map. The only save feature on an American console is a password feature. And this game is just so bad that if you put a certain code into your 3DS, it'll brick your system. But yes, it's so bad. Like, if you want to play original Metroid now, like, no hacks or anything, like, straight up, you're gonna hate yourself immediately. Immediately you're gonna hate yourself. And then the beams don't stack, so it's like there's no point to get the wave beam. You just, cause like once you get the wave beam, that's it, right? But to kill the Metroids, you need the ice beam. Like, I mean, I could go on about the game, but it is like, it's like I wouldn't say dead last, because Metroid Other M is dead last. Like, let's be honest. But Zero Mission number 1, Super Metroid number 2, Metroid Prime number 3, Fusion number 4, Prime 2 number 5. No. Metroid 2 number 5, Prime 2 number 6, Samus Returns. That's getting put at the bottom. No, that's getting put at the bottom. Prime 3 will be number 7. Number 8 will be Samus Returns. Number 9, Prime Hunters. Federation Force will go right there. Pinball will go right there. Other M's going like right to the bottom immediately. So that'll leave Metroid at number 10, I believe, if I'm correct. Number 10, Pinball. I'm at number 11. Pinball. It's not hard to mess up a pinball game, honestly. Federation Force, number 12. And then Other M, dead last. Dead last. It's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. And so for you YouTube guys that are going to be watching this on YouTube, I hope y'all enjoyed this video for YouTube. And I'll see y'all later. Make sure to follow me in my social media links. They'll be down in the description. Or if you want to stop by my Twitch, it's at Cledus Unleashed, and it'll be on my About page. But anyway,